Hello everyone and welcome back. In the last video, we explored Plato's Republic and the debate between Glaucon, Adeimantus, and Socrates about the nature of justice. Today we're going to connect that to the idea you've probably heard in everyday life, altruism. Let's start with a question. What do you think altruism means? Altruism usually means caring about the needs and happiness of others more than your own, acting unselfishly for the sake of others. Think of someone giving away their last meal, donating anonymously, or sacrificing their life to save another. It's often seen as the purest form of goodness. But here's the big question we're tackling. Is altruism even possible? Let's connect this to what you just read in Plato. Remember, Glaucon argues that justice is a necessary evil, something we follow only because we're afraid of the consequences. Socrates, by contrast, argues that justice is good in itself. It benefits the person who practices it, no matter what the external consequences are. And here's why this matters. If Glaucon is right, then altruism could exist, but it would be irrational. You would be doing something for others with no benefit to yourself, possibly even hurting yourself. But if Socrates is right, if doing good is always good for you, then altruism is impossible. Why? Because everything you do that's good is also good for you. You are always, in some sense, advancing towards your own highest moral value. So let's break this down. We all have our highest moral value. We don't have a universal definition of what is good. So each person has a hierarchy of values with a highest moral value at the top. For some, that might be religious salvation. For others, personal achievement. For others, service to humanity. So when we act, we're guided by what we believe moves us closer to that ideal self and the ideal world. Step 2. Good actions are those that benefit us. If something is good in itself, it must also always be good for the person who is doing it. That is Socrates' position. We act justly because it is better for us, even if it costs us in the material terms. We aim towards our highest moral value because that is our ideal of what is good. And so here's a question for you. If you act justly and it destroys your material life, but it strengthens your soul, is that still a benefit? Socrates says yes, and that's where the idea of altruism starts to crack. Goodness is internalized, not externally agreed upon. It's not just that we disagree about what is good. It is that goodness itself is not an external system that we all sign onto. Each person defines good in relation to their own highest moral value, the ideal that they hold as their deepest guide for what kind of a person they should be and how the world should be. So let's make this concrete. Imagine you're approached by a cult and they tell you something like, "Stop being so selfish and do the right thing. Sacrifice your parents to the flying spaghetti monster." Well, here's a problem. One, you don't understand the act of sacrificing your parents as good. Two, you don't recognize that cult's demand as meaningful because it's out of joint with your own definition of good. And three, the cult's idea of should collapses because you are not evaluating the action through their system. You're evaluating it through yours. The key point is, the fact that someone else declares an action to be good is meaningless to you unless your system already agrees that the action is good. And if your system agrees, it's only because that action happens to point in the same direction as your own highest moral value. That's why pure altruism, the idea of acting entirely without regard for yourself, doesn't work. Even when we act on behalf of others, we are acting within our own framework of what we think is good and right, and that is guided by the ideals that we hold at the top of our own value hierarchy. Step 4. All good must be calculated as an investment and not a sacrifice. Every action has costs and benefits. A rational action is one where the benefit is greater than or at least equal to the cost. So an action is rational if and only if the cost of that action is less than or equal to the benefit. So here's a question. If you give your money to someone in need, but you feel good afterwards, was that really selfless? Many philosophers would say no. You got something out of it. Emotional satisfaction, alignment with your values, maybe even social approval. Even in cases where you suffer materially, in this case by giving away money, if the act advances your highest moral value, it is still a benefit to you. And that brings us to step 5. Sacrifice or investment. Think of this difference. If you light your money on fire, then you have destroyed it. It is pure destruction. If you donate it to someone in need, you get emotional, moral, or social benefits. Why is burning money bad but helping someone good? Because of the consequences, the return on the investment. And that means that even apparent self-sacrifice is actually an investment towards your own highest goal. But that idea falls apart if we try to force pure altruism. And that is because in pure altruism, you cannot consider yourself or any benefits that you might get as at all relevant to the situation. Now, in religious and secular examples, we can see how this problem plays out. For religious people, sacrifice today leads to a reward in the afterlife. And so you always have a personal benefit to acting justly or morally. For secular people, helping others might align with their sense of meaning and purpose. And either way, the person acting is benefiting, maybe not materially, but in a deeper value-driven way. And so, if goodness is defined as what moves us closer to our highest moral value, then doing good always benefits us, first and foremost. And that means that pure altruism, that is, doing good without any benefit to yourself, doesn't exist. And not only does it not exist, it cannot rationally exist. Now, we're not saying that people are selfish or calculating in some negative way. What we're saying is that even the most selfless acts are connected to what we believe to be the most important thing. So here's what I'd like you to reflect on. What do you think your highest moral value is? How do your selfless actions serve that value? And do you think that true altruism is possible, or is all goodness ultimately connected to some sort of self-benefit? And that's where we'll pick up the discussion next time.